Introduction to Epistemology. Definition and scope. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy concerned with knowledge, what it is, how it is acquired, and how we know what we know. It comes from Greek words episteme, which means knowledge, and logos, meaning study and reasoning. Core questions. What constitutes knowledge? How do we distinguish truth from belief or opinion? Can we really know anything with certainty? Importance. Foundational to science, education, ethics, AI, law, and everyday decision making. Without epistemology, we wouldn't question the reliability of source or the truth of claims. So, epistemology is the branch of philosophy that explores the nature and scope of knowledge. The term comes from the two Greek words episteme, meaning knowledge, and logos, meaning the study of reasoning. Essentially, it is the study of what knowledge is, how it is acquired, and how we can determine its truthfulness. Epistemology seeks to answer core questions such as what constitutes knowledge? How do we distinguish truth from mere beliefs or opinion? And can we really know anything with certainty? Understanding epistemology is fundamental in many areas, including science, education, law, and everyday decision making. Without it, we wouldn't critically examine the reliability of source or the validity of claims. It encourages us to seek deeper questions about the world around us, pushing us to think more critically about the nature of reality and how we come to know it. Type and categories of knowledge. Propositional knowledge, knowing that statement or facts believed to be true. Example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Procedural knowledge, knowing how. Skills or abilities. Example, knowing how to play a guitar or solve an equation. Experimental acquaintance, knowledge, knowing by experience. Directly experienced knowledge. Example, knowing what chocolate tastes like or what pain feels like. Distinctions. Propositional knowledge is the focus of the most epistemological theories. Procedural and experimental knowledge often go beyond verbal explanation. So, knowledge can be categorized into three primary types: propositional, procedural, and experimental knowledge. Propositional knowledge, or knowing that, refers to statements or facts believed to be true. For example, knowing that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. It is the type of knowledge most discussed in epistemology, as it is expressed through declarative statements. Number 2. Procedural knowledge, or knowing how, involves knowledge or abilities. It is the practical know-how, such as knowing how to play a guitar or how to solve mathematical equations. Number 3. Experimental or acquaintance. Knowledge or knowing by experience is gained through direct experience. For example, knowing what chocolate tastes like or what pain feels like. While propositional knowledge is more analytical and objective, procedural and experimental knowledge often involve a more subjective, first-hand understanding of the world. Understanding these distinctions help us identify how we acquired and validate different types of knowledge in various contexts.
Hello everyone, my name is Jogi Parjumdani. My topic is major theories and sources of knowledge. So letter A, experiencism, experience-based knowledge from the sensory experience. Key thinker, John Locke, David Hume, Tabula Rasa. The mind starts as a blank slate. Letter B, rationalism, reason-based knowledge comes from logic, reason, and innate ideas. Key thinker, René Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz. I think, therefore I am. Descartes' foundation of knowledge. So letter C, constructivism. Mind-based knowledge is actively constructed by the mind. Key thinkers Jean Piaget can early influence we interpret and shape reality through mental frameworks. So later D, pragmatism, utility-based. Truth is verified, truth is practical, sequences. Key thinker William James, Santiu, truth is what works. So letter A, Einsteinism, embedded in science. Knowledge can arise, truth, intuitive understanding, often discussed in ethics and mathematics. So there are several major theories about how knowledge is acquired and what constitutes true knowledge. A. Empiricism emphasizes that knowledge is primarily derived from the sensory experience. Thinkers like John Locke and David Hume propose that our minds start as a blank slate or tabula rasa, and that our knowledge comes from our experience. In the latter way, rationalism asserts that reason and logic are the primary sources of knowledge. Philosophers such as Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz acquire that we are born with innate ideas, in that the reason can lead to certain knowledge, as expressed and described famous phrase, I think, therefore I am. So letter C, constructionism suggests that knowledge is actively constructed by the mind rather than passively received. Fagan in Kant emphasized that our mental frameworks shape how we perceive and interpret reality. Later day, pragmatism posits that the truth of belief is determined by its practical consequences. Thinkers like William James and John Dewey emphasize that knowledge is valuable when it works and practice. So in the letter A, Einsteinism hold that certain forms of knowledge can be gained through embedded insight or institution rather than through empirical evidence or logical reasoning. This concept is often discussed in ethics and mathematics. Its theory offers a different perspective on how we acquire knowledge, emphasize the laws of experience, reasons, constructions, utility, and institution.
Assalamualaikum. I am Damir Jansen. My topic is the structure and justification of knowledge. The structure and justification of knowledge. One of the most influential models in epistemology is the justified true belief model, originally proposed by Plato. According to this model, knowledge is defined as a belief that is true and justified. For example, if I believe it will rain today, and it actually does rain, and my belief was based on a reliable weather forecast, then my belief qualifies as knowledge. However, the general problem challenged this model by presenting scenarios where all three conditions are met, but we wouldn't consider it true knowledge due to luck or coincidence. In addition to GTB, there are other approaches to justification such as reliabilism. A belief is justified if it is produced by a reliable process like a trustworthy source or method. GTB model. This model, originally proposed by Plato, define knowledge as a belief that is both true and justified. In other words, for something to count as knowledge, you must believe it. It must be factually correct, and your belief must be based on a sound reasoning or evidence. Example, believing it will rain because a reliable weather forecast predicts rain. The belief is true. It does rain, justified based on a reliable source. In you held that belief, this fits the GTB model. Gator problem. The Gator problem highlights a flaw in the GBT model. It presents scenarios where all three conditions, true belief, justified belief, are met, yet the belief does not seem to constitute genuine knowledge because it based on luck or coincidence. Alternative to GTB. Reliabilism as an alternative approach. This theory states that a belief is justified if it results from a reliable process, regardless of whether the person understands why the process is reliable. A trustworthy source or method is key here. In short, the GTB model is a simple way to understand knowledge, but it's complete. The Gator problem shows that a belief can be true and justified without being actual knowledge. Reliabilism is presented as one attempt to improve the model. And that's all. Thank you.
Skepticism and the limits of knowledge. Philosophical skepticism doubt whether we can have any knowledge at all. We must not experiment. Descartes is evil demon a deceiving being tricks us into false belief. When in the bad would be living in a simulation matrix scenario inspired by modern firm questioning reality response to skepticism. While realism knowledge can be valid even if not certain, contextualism standard for knowledge depend into situation. Virtue epistemology focus on the intellectual character of the novel honestly carefulness. Modern explication, fake news, conspiracy theories, depicts challenge or ability to trust knowledge source. That's my explanation. Skepticism in the limits of knowledge. Skepticism challenge the idea that we can ever know anything for certain. Philosophical skepticism question the very responsibility of knowledge. Some famous thought experiment illustrate skeptical challenge such as Descartes' evil demon scenario in which a deceiving being manipulates our perception. Similarly, in the brain, in the bad scenario suggests that we could be living in simulated reality without realizing it. Modern films like The Matrix show similar themes. Despite this challenge, philosophers have developed response in skepticism included fallibilism, which suggests that we can have knowledge even if it contextualism, which asserts that the standard for knowledge depends on the context in which it is claimed. Virtue epistemology, which focuses on the electrical character of knowledge, emphasizing traits like honesty and carefulness. Addressing skepticism is particularly relevant to the rise of misinformation, deepfake, and conspiracy theories, which make it harder to determine what is true and trustworthy.
Contemporary applications and social epistemology. Epidemic injustice, coined by Miranda Fricker, when someone is unfairly treated as a knower, ignoring expert women or minorities. Testimonial injustice, distrusting someone's knowledge due to prejudice. Hermeneutical injustice, lacking the knowledge or concepts to express someone's experience, mental health stigma. Social epistemology studies knowledge in a group or institutional context. Science, media, education, examines peer review, Wikipedia, and how information spreads. Tech and epistemology. AI and ChatGPT can machines produce knowledge, social media algorithms. How truth is filtered or distorted, epistemic bubbles and echo chambers. Here is my explanation. Contemporary applications and social epistemology, member 6. Epistemology is not just an abstract philosophical concept. It has real-world implications, especially in the context of social epistemology, which examines how knowledge is produced, shared, and validated within communities. One key concept is epistemic injustice, introduced by Miranda Fricker. This occurs when someone is unfairly treated as a knower due to biases or stereotypes. There are two main forms: testimonial injustice, and hermeneutical injustice. Testimonial injustice, when someone's knowledge is discounted because of prejudice. Hermeneutical injustice, when a person lacks the knowledge or framework to express their experiences as seen in marginalized groups or mental health discussions. In the age of technology, epistemology also intersects with AI, social media algorithms, and digital misinformations. The rise of epidemic bubbles and echo chambers further complicates our understanding of truth, as people increasingly encounter information that confirms their existing beliefs. Addressing these challenges requires a critical examination of how knowledge is distributed, shared, and controlled in our increasingly interconnected world.
Conclusion, optional or for the host. Epistemology is essential to understanding how we know anything at all. It shapes our thinking about science, ethics, technology, and trust. Challenges like skepticism and misinformation make it more relevant than ever. So, conclusion, this is my explanation. And conclusion, epistemology provides a foundational framework for understanding the nature, sources, and limits of knowledge. It raises vital questions about what we know, how we know it, and how we can trust our beliefs. As we navigate a world of complex information system, epistemology reminds us to critically examine our sources and remain open to questioning what we think we know. Thank you for the attention.